Hi, my name is Lisa Mislevy. I'm a registered dietitian and part owner of Keto Cats Bakery with my partner, Anna Sherman, who is a keto chef. So today we're going to talk about the keto bread roll recipe we have online. If you haven't already, download your recipe and follow along. So I've pre-measured ingredients so you don't have to watch me do all that, but I'll explain what I would do if I were you in your house. So this recipe is in two parts. There's a dry part and a wet part. Don't be overwhelmed by the new ingredients if you haven't used them before. They're really easy to use, and if there's a mistake, just do it again until you get the hang of it, because the finished product is really worth it. It's a very nice bread product for being keto. Okay, so let's start with some of the wet ingredients, because I did want to show you it includes separating eggs. And in case you haven't separated an egg before, oh, here it is. I want to show you how I did it. So first you want to do 2 bowls. You want to have one for your egg whites and one for your yolks. I've already separated some for another recipe. So this bowl has 2 whites already in it, but I want to show you how I do it. So I just do a light tap so I get a crack on my egg. You could do it on the table or a sharp spot. You're gonna open it at the crack, and then you're just gonna go back and forth with your yolk and let the egg white fall out. You can put the whole thing in your hand and try to keep the yellow from opening, the yolk from opening, and just let the egg white seep through your fingers, or you can do it like this, okay? And it's okay if you get a little bit of either in either bowl. It's not the end of the world, I promise, okay? So that is how you separate eggs. So we want 3 whites, okay? This is part of the liquids. Then right to the same bowl. And by the way, if your eggs are different sizes, it's written in grams in the recipe, so it calls for 100 grams of egg white. So you can crack maybe 4 or 5 eggs if they're big or small, and then just pour the whites so that you get the 100 grams into a separate bowl, okay? And then right to the egg whites, I'm going to add the apple cider vinegar. It calls for 10 grams. Oh, I'll show you how I do it. So I take a scale, which you should have, and I put the bowl on it, and I hit tare on my scale so it's zeroed out. Then I add the quantity that I need, and I'm looking for 10 grams here. So I just slowly add until I hit that 10, and then I'm done, okay? And this helps prevent using too many bowls, because I hate doing dishes. So I have the egg whites, I have my apple cider vinegar, and then I've already poured 1 cup of boiling water, which was 237 grams. So you can measure to 1 cup or you can weigh it, but this is a pretty uniform ingredient, let's say. So 1 cup will probably be exactly 237 grams. And more or less won't really matter because it's just water, it won't affect macros. Those are my wet ingredients. I'm gonna set them aside. Now I'm going to take my mixing bowl. You can use your stand mixer or regular bowl. I'm gonna tare the weight on my scale, and I'm gonna start to add dry ingredients one at a time. Okay, so the first one under dry is 140 grams of almond flour. I've already weighed this out, so I know it's 140 grams. But if you were doing it, you would see 140 grams, and you take or put back according to how much you have. The next ingredient is whole psyllium husk. You want them to look like this, kind of like oatmeal. It's a little bit finer. It's not psyllium husk powder. That's very fine, and that will affect the outcome of your recipe. So you want to make sure you get whole psyllium husk, okay? We want 79 grams of that. Then we want salt. So we're going to do 3 grams of salt. Okay. And then we want 9 grams of baking powder, which I've already measured out. So I'm going to add that. Okay, those are the dry ingredients. This is really quick. It's faster when I'm not talking about it. So you have your dry ingredients, you have your wet ingredients with the water, and then you're gonna go over to your stand mixer, okay? Okay, so now we're at our stand mixer. We have our dry ingredients, so I like to start mixing those first. Then I add my egg whites, and I add my hot water. And as you can see, it's gonna start off really liquidy, but then it's going to come together. If you mix it maybe 30 seconds, maybe 45 seconds, I haven't timed it, but it's not very long. As soon as you start seeing it thicken and pull away from the sides of the bowl, it's nearly done. So we're gonna let it go. It's the psyllium husk that absorbs water, and it absorbs it pretty quickly. So if you let it go too long, don't walk away, because then it's gonna be a big ball and hard to work with. So right about now, as it starts to thicken and pull away from the sides of the bowl, we're going to say it's done. Okay, so I have my finished product. It's already mixed. You can see it's more like a dough ball in here, and it's time to scoop it. So I know that a number 10 scoop is about 95 grams per ball, and it will give me 6 balls out of this. So if you don't have a scoop, it's no problem. You just want to evenly portion these out so that they're roughly the same and your macros are correct. You know, and you try to get as precise as you can. And so you can take a portion of this. You don't have to use the scoop, and you can weigh it into grams, and you can see if it is around the 92 grams. Okay, so that was 83, so I'm gonna add a little more, and I'm at 92. So then this is 1 ball. So then we're gonna continue like that. I won't do all of them the same way so that you don't have to watch me do it. And I take pretty level scoops to keep them consistent. And as you make them over and over, you'll find that you get better at it. So just keep trying, and it's okay if you don't get them right. You can put the whole ball of dough back together and re-scoop it again until you do. But if you weigh them, it should be correct. And sometimes things just change with keto baking, because it can be complicated. It can be frustrating for sure, which is I know why you're here, but just keep at it, and eventually you'll end up with things that are edible and delicious, and with the help of our recipes, you'll have exactly what you're looking for. So that's it. You don't have to roll them, but I do, because it just makes them look a little nicer. And if you want them flatter to come out more like hamburger bun shape, you can just pat, oh, you can't see that. You can just pat them down like this, and it can make them come flatter. Or if you want them to look more like a dinner roll, you can just make them a ball like that, okay? So then I'm gonna take these, I'm gonna put them in the oven for 40 minutes. You can do 45 if you live at an elevation where maybe things bake different. Play with the numbers. You might need to go less time if they look like they're burning. You might need to go a little more time if they deflate after they come out of the oven, okay? So the timing doesn't affect any other part of the recipe other than how they look at the end. So if you feel that they are deflated or too wet on the inside, add 5 minutes next time you bake them. The psyllium husk. Some brands will make this recipe turn purple after they bake. It's okay. It doesn't affect the recipe or the flavor at all. They're just gonna look purple. So maybe your kids will think that's fun too. Don't throw them away. You can still eat them. I use Now psyllium husk brand. That is consistently normal, and they come out brown. All right, now we have our finished product, our keto bread rolls. So I wanna show you what they look like. Now, because psyllium husk is unpredictable when you're baking, sometimes the shapes come out funny, and that's totally normal. Don't let that stress you out or get you down. It's expected at this point, and I don't know how to make them uniform every time. So don't worry about it. I also cut one open. I wanted to show you what it looks like. It's nice and spongy. See how soft it is? This is my favorite product. Anna and I love these because they're like bread. You know, they give you that consistency. Even though they're brown, they really just give you that bread texture. Okay, so this was, if you remember, the 2-to-1 ratio, or I'm sorry, the 1.3-to-1 ratio recipe. And now to increase the ratios from 2-to-1 or 3-to-1, you're going to add butter to them. So you're going to measure out some butter on a scale, and you're just going to add it to your bread, and you can toast this bread if you leave it in the toaster oven long enough. It will get crispy and toasty. I would say maybe 5 minutes, and then you can add bread or butter and spread it around. It's so delicious. Maybe some garlic salt or seasoning, or make a sandwich out of it. However you're gonna use it, and add protein to it or fat to it. Just make sure you weigh it all out and you're on top of those macros. So for a 2-to-1, you're gonna add a 1/2 tablespoon of butter, and to make it a 3-to-1 ratio, you're gonna add 1.5 tablespoons of butter, okay? And that's it. Those are your keto bread rolls.